I just played Portal 2 for the first time, and it's amazing. Except for the parts where it's not.
Does any of this make any sense? Just tell me, just say yes.
Speak.
Okay, what you're doing there is jumping.
Are you kidding me? Oh, if you just peek in here, of course that's where it goes. I hate it. I went into Portal 2 completely blind. Like, actually blind. No trailers, no spoilers, no just wait until GLaDOS comes back warnings. So when the game starts with this goofy little British robot, Wheatley, rolling me through this crumbling factory, I thought, okay, this is a different vibe. It felt lighter, looser. The opening exploration is all about atmosphere. You're wandering through the ruins of Aperture Science, bits of the old test chamber rotting away, nature breaking in through the walls. It's neat. It's quiet. It's almost peaceful. Until it's not. Because then, boom, GLaDOS wakes up. I didn't know she was coming back at all, so my first reaction was pure surprise. And I'll be honest, it did not hit for me the way it probably hit for most people. In Portal 1, I liked her a lot. She had this perfect balance of dry sarcasm and passive-aggressive menace, but in Portal 2, something felt off for me. She's meaner, but not in a clever way. More like a coworker who's been making the same funny comment for 3 days straight. You're just like, alright, we get it. What else you got? It wasn't unfunny, but it didn't have that same spark from the first game. I just remember thinking, cool, so what are we doing next? Once we're back in the test chambers, though, that's when it clicked again. This is the Portal that I love. The clean puzzle rooms, all the tools laid out in front of you, the simple joy of connecting the dots. No wandering through the rubble, wondering if I'm even in the right room. Just me, my portals, and my underdeveloped brain. That rhythm of look around, spot the solution, execute it, it's so satisfying. And for a while there, I was just vibing, enjoying the ride. Even GLaDOS's jabs didn't bother me as much whenever I was in that headspace. Then Wheatley pulls off his big coup. GLaDOS gets dethroned, and suddenly he's running the whole place. I could see the absolute power corrupts absolutely set up from a mile away, but I still wanted to believe Wheatley might be different. He's awkward, he's charming, he's trying his best. Maybe he'd be the exception. It was fun seeing the dynamic shift though. GLaDOS, now stuck in a potato battery, was suddenly way more tolerable, even funny again. There's something inherently satisfying about watching a character who's been talking down to you suddenly have no power over you. And her whole thing with hating birds?
Say, you're good at murder. Could you, murder this bird for me?
Beautiful. Comedy gold. By the way, if you stick around to the end, I've got something kind of important to share about the future of this channel. So when the game dropped me into the underbelly of Aperture, it felt like stepping into a completely different game. Suddenly I'm in these massive, echoing caverns with ancient tech hanging from the ceiling like some retro-futuristic graveyard. And then there's Cave Johnson. Oh man. Cave Johnson is perfect. He's an awful human being, but in the funniest way possible. The lemon rant, the casual cruelty towards test subjects. I was laughing again because the jokes weren't just shitting on me anymore. He wasn't trying to get under my skin, he was just a mad scientist yelling at whoever happened to be in earshot 50 years ago.
Alright, I've been thinking. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade.
Yeah.
Make life take the lemons back.
Yeah.
Get mad!
Yeah.
I don't want your damn lemons! What am I supposed to do with these?
Yeah, take the lemons.
Demand to see life's manager.
Yeah.
Make life rue the day it thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down with the lemons.
Oh, I like this guy.
I'm gonna get my engineers to invent a combustible lemon that burns your house down.
Burn his house down. Burning people. He says what we're all thinking.
And we have to talk about it. Because at first, the gels seemed like a cool twist. A way to shake up the formula. Blue for bounce, orange for speed, white for portals. It felt like a whole new layer to play with. And then, it just kept going. And going. And going. The novelty wore off fast, especially with the blue gel. Those puzzles just were not clicking for me. maybe I'm just dumb, because I'd spend more time wrestling with the mechanics than actually solving the room. It's not that I mind harder puzzles, it's when the difficulty becomes figuring out what the game even wants from me that I start to check out. Like, there's one moment burned into my memory, a huge, sprawling test area. Catwalks, walls. I'm just running around like a rat in a very stylish maze, convinced the solution is going to be some grand, multi-step masterpiece. Nope. The actual answer? Tiny, tucked away, easy to miss unless you happen to glance in the exact right direction. And that's when I realized I wasn't solving a puzzle. I was finding the puzzle. If this were a detective game like Duck Detective, I'd be all for it. In that game, the fantasy is hunting for clues. But Portal, for me, is about being given the pieces and figuring out how they fit together. When the game hides the pieces, it stops feeling like Portal and starts feeling like work. After Chapter 7, I had to stop. I was frustrated, running low on sleep, and the game was just not clicking with me anymore. When I came back the next day, the difference was night and day. Chapters 8 and 9 start in those clean, controlled lab test chambers again, and suddenly I'm back in my element. Everything I need to solve the puzzle is right in front of me. No spelunkying for hidden panels or obscure portal surfaces, just me, the room, and the physics. And it felt good again. One thing I do have to respect is the sheer amount of world building in Portal 2. Even when I didn't enjoy the mechanics, I could still appreciate how much thought went into the aesthetic choices. Dropping deeper and deeper into Aperture's history, swapping sleek white panels for rusted catwalks and Cold War era science projects, it feels right for the timeline. The gels, for example, made sense as relics of an older Aperture, born from an era where let's bounce people off walls was a perfectly valid R&D strategy. I get it. It's coherent, but it still feels out of place for me in Portal. Meanwhile, the excursion funnel, that push-pull tractor beam thing, somehow fit perfectly. It feels like it belongs in the Portal timeline I'm used to. Clean, futuristic, and ridiculously fun to use. And there is the whole what the game could have been thing. I heard originally that Portal 2 is planned to be more of an open experience, with you traveling between hub areas to collect corrupted core. That vision explains why some of these spaces are so massive and exploratory. They're remnants of a design built for wandering, not just puzzle solving. I can respect that ambition. I can admire the aesthetic of the world building those decisions brought in, but I still didn't like playing those parts. I can appreciate the concept without enjoying the execution, and that's exactly where I landed with a lot of Portal 2's more open exploratory moments. Anyways, back to the story. Wheatley's arc is such a weird emotional ride. From the start, he's this lovable, slightly incompetent guide, the kind of guy you want to root for. Even after he takes over from GLaDOS, I was holding out hope that he'd still be our Wheatley. But then comes the moment I realize he's actually trying to kill me. Not accidentally, not, oops, I knocked over a thing and now you're in danger. No, this was planned, deliberate. And yeah, that sucked. I've been rooting for him the whole way, so when he crossed that line, it felt like I was losing a teammate mid-game. Still, his personality shines through even in villain mode, just less funny awkward, and more, oh god, he's an idiot, but he's dangerous now. Looking back, Portal 2 is a mix of some of the best moments I've had in a puzzle game, and some of the most frustrating. I loved the moments where the game laid out all the tools and said, here, now be clever. I loved Cave Johnson's absurd rants, GLaDOS's petty bird vendetta, and Wheatley's bumbling charm before it curdled into malice. But when the game pulled away the tools and made me hunt for them, that's when it lost me. Not because I couldn't solve it, although I did have to look up the answers twice, but because it stopped feeling like Portal and started feeling like a scavenger hunt I never signed up for. Even so, when Portal 2 hits, it really hits, and I can see why people hold it up as one of the greats, even if I'll always have a little bit of beef with that blue gel. Before I wrap up, I just want to share something real quick. When I came back to YouTube a couple months ago, the plan was to give this new direction 8 weeks just to see how things went. I started with Portal 1 and figured the best way to end this experiment was with Portal 2. So yes, this might actually be the last video I ever make here. I'm waiting to see how things go once this is out, and if it's viable, I'll keep going even if I have to make some changes. If it's not viable, well, thank you for being a part of this, truly. Either way, it's been one good run.